إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Kitab al-Majid, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatih wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. We are about to enter the 4 sacred months, Ashhur al-Hurum. And this is the first month, Dhul-Hijjah. In a week or so, we would have entered this sacred month. We are in Dhul-Hijjah in the first month, and we would enter Dhul-Hijjah in about a week or so. And this is the second of the sacred months. They come in a row, Dhul-Hijjah, Dhul-Hijjah, and then we have Muharram, and Rajab is a standalone month. But in these first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah, these are considered to be the best of the best of the best. Often you ask yourselves that, as you get older perhaps, what was the most important and prevalent day in your life? And people have different answers. For some people it's their marriage. They've been after this sister for the last 7, 8, 9 years, and finally she had condition after condition, and the families had condition after condition after condition. He succeeded, and at the end he got her. That's his most precious day in his whole life. For some people it's their graduation. You know the hacks, graduation ceremonies, it's the day that they remember. Unfortunately for some it's mundane as Man United winning the FA Cup, but it is what it is. So people have different days in their lives. For some it's their children. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that the most important days in our entire lives are the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. There is nothing that is more important than what you do in the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. Anas ibn Malik narrated in many hadith, but in narrating this hadith, he said there are no deeds that are more precious to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or that are more greater in reward to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than a good deed that is done during the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said this, and he was asked, not even jihad fi sabilillah? From that we understand how the Sahaba looked at jihad. It was the best of the best of the best. And that's why perhaps the people of Palestine today are perhaps considered to be the best of the best of the best. Because of they are in Ribat, standing firm against the enemy. But even jihad fi sabilillah, he was asked, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, not even jihad fi sabilillah, not even jihad fi sabilillah, except for a man that goes out fighting for the sake of Allah, and he comes back and he loses everything, himself and all of his wealth. So he's lost everything in that except him. But there is no good deed that is more precious to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than what you do in these 10 days. So if there's something in your lives, my dear brothers and sisters, that you want to do, and you've been waiting to do this good deed, now is the time to do it. It's now. You've promised yourself, I want to become Hafiz of Quran. Now is the time for that commitment. I want to start fasting Mondays. Now is the time for that commitment. I promise to take care of the orphan family in Mogadishu, or in Syria, or in Kashmir. Now is the time to do it. You haven't spoken to your brother or your sister for a year. Now is the time to do it. You're upset with your mom and your dad, and how can you be upset with your mom and your dad? How can you be upset with your mom and your dad? How? For Muslims and non-Muslims, and you haven't spoken to them. Now is the time to go to them and apologize to them, and hold on to their feet, and kiss their hands, and massage your father's head. Now is the time to do it. For the young ones, the mosque is full with the young ones. You've got yourself in trouble because you're with a group that you shouldn't be, a gang. You're in a gang and you know I want to get young ones, don't ever leave your house with any weapon. And you say to yourself, and you say to your parents, and you say to the elders, it's for protection. If you think that you need protection, then you're in the wrong group of friends. If you got to walk out of your house with a piece, you're with the wrong group of friends. You have these bare two hands of yours that Allah gave you. Use them to defend yourselves. Because the law allows that, and Allah Ta'ala, He allows that. But the moment that you carry a piece, the moment that you carry a weapon, you have to use that weapon. And you will use that weapon. And then you have to answer. And if you use your bare hands, and then you die in that struggle, so be it. Die. Because that's what Allah wrote for you. Allah, He wrote that for you, subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you took the peace with you in your hands. Allah Ta'ala didn't write that for you. You are answerable for that, and you will use that. And you will get done. You will either die, or you will end up doing time behind bars. And those friends for whom you are carrying your peace, those friends and those gangs, your fams that you think they're your fams, for whom you think you're defending your estate, the minute you are behind bars, they will take your car. They will take your wife, brothers. Axe. They will take your wives. Do you know that when you're behind bars? They will take your money, your drug money that they know you got stashed under your bed. They will take your drug money. And the police will come to them and they will give your name. They're not your axe. They're not your fams. They're nothing to you. And on the day of judgment, you will bite your fingers and say to yourself, why did I keep this man as a friend of mine? Why? So the single thing that you young ones can do in these 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah is leave those friends. That's the greatest thing that you can do to this society, because you're a menace in society. Walking out with your peace, walking out with your gangs, thinking that I'm gonna a menace in society. Troublemakers. You're not gangsters, you're not big man. Big men in Palestine, they are big men. Children are big men. They lose their families, they lose their houses, they lose their mother and their father and their businesses. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. That's a big man. That's a big man. He's got a stone in his hand and an army in front of him. It's a worthwhile cause to fight. That's a big man. You're fighting for turf, for an estate, for bricks, for a car, for your girl. That's not a big man. You're not a big man in a gang. You are nothing. Nothing in this dunya and nothing in the akhirah. And you will realize when you're behind bars, because no one's going to stand with you. No one. So the single thing that you as a gang member or a drug shotter can do is leave this in the first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. Leave it. That's the commitment, the irada that you make to yourself, that I'm going to leave it. We have a mentality in our society, my dear brothers and sisters, because the greatest thing that all of us can do in these 10 days is go to Hajj. The greatest thing that we can all do in these 10 days is go to Hajj. There's nothing better than that, nothing greater than that. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in the hadith, "Man hajju lillah, falam yarfuth, walam yafsuk, raja'at al-yawm waladathu ummuh." Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, whoever goes and performs the Hajj and does not commit any sin, he comes back like a newborn baby, a fresh start. In life it's very difficult to get a fresh start. Even my young ones, fams, when you leave your gang members and you leave your gangsters, you cut them off on your phone, you block them on your phone, you leave their groups on their phone, it's going to still come back to haunt you. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, it will come back to haunt you. Although you left it, and although Allah Ta'ala may have forgiven you, but you will have to face the consequences in the dunya. But we very rarely get a second chance in life. Allah Ta'ala gave us the second chance in life to go to Hajj and come back as a new accepted Hajj, لَيْسَ لَهُ جَزَاء إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ. There's no reward for an accepted Hajj except Jannah. Nothing, you get this ticket. Al-Hujjaj wal-Ummaru, they are wafdullahi ta'ala, they are guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Hajj. So why is it we wouldn't want to spend all that we have to go to Hajj? I've got 10,000 stashed in my bank for my son who wants to get married in 10 years' time. And often mothers, they think like this. They've got money stashed in the bank waiting for their children to get them married in 10 years' time, but they haven't done the Hajj. Why would you not want to spend that money to go to Hajj? My dear sisters, why would you not want to spend your gold to get to Hajj? Because you get a fresh start in the dunya. Why would you not want to sell your beamer? Why would you not want to sell your designer clothes, your gowns, your Rolex? Why would you not want to sell all of that to go to Hajj, Baytullah al-Haram? Why would you not want to do that? Why would we not want to do that? If I get a fresh start in my life, I've got a guaranteed ticket to Jannah. If I don't, there's something wrong with my mentality. So we have this in our community. When we think that I should only go when I'm older. No. Muhammad said, come to me when you are young. Hajj is for the sinners. For those of us that are thinking, no, I've got to fix up to go to Hajj. It's a place of purity. It's the house of Allah, and I'm a sinner. It's the house of Allah, and I'm a drug dealer. It's the house of Allah, and I'm an alcoholic. I'm a liar. I'm a thief. I'm a zani. I commit zina day and night. That's the house of Allah. How can I go there? That is for us. It's for the sinner that we go to the house of Allah. It's not for the pious, it's for everyone. It's not exclusive for the pious man. It's for everyone, it's for the sinner. Going to the house of Allah is for the drug dealer. Going to the house of Allah is for the zani. Going to the house of Allah is for the thief. It's for the one who does haram day and night. It's for all of us. The second misconception that we have is when it comes to paying zakah. This is the time where a lot of us will have to pay zakah, and people set this time the first 10 days. And rightly so, because no deed that you do is more precious to Allah than in these first 10 days. So people pay the zakah. But let me tell you, my dear brothers and sisters, there is a misunderstanding in the eyes of the Muslims who think that they have money, that zakah is only for big people who do big businesses. I've got 10 shops, 10 houses, 20 cars. These are the people who should be paying zakat. The Dhul-Hijjah, this trade that I do, understand that when I buy and sell something, if I have more, and if I go by the nisab of the silver or nisab of the gold, silver is about 500, gold is about 1,000. So if I have this much amount of money in my bank, for a whole year, even if it fluctuates up and down, I am obliged to pay zakah. And if I buy goods in order to trade with them, this is called currency. So I've got 10 mobile phones that I've bought in order to buy and sell. These 10 mobile phones, when it comes to zakah, is considered currency. I've got 10 cars that I sell. These cars are considered currency. So at the end of the year, I must calculate what is the value of my phones, what is the value of my cars, what is the value of the shoes and the clothes that I sell. That is currency. It comes to 20,000, I pay zakah on 20,000. People think that no, I don't need to pay the zakah on these things that I buy and sell because I haven't got cash or gold. Goods, trade goods is currency, my dear brothers and sisters. So the single biggest reason, let me tell you, that I found with businesses that have failed, the single biggest reason that I found that Muslim businesses have failed, irrespective of selling the wrong thing, is because you don't pay the zakah. Because we haven't paid the zakah. Every time I've looked at a Muslim brother who's got a business that's in debt or has failed in his business, it comes down to a single thing: he didn't pay zakah properly. So do not avoid trying to pay zakah. There are so many good things, my dear brothers and sisters, that we can do in these first 10 days. Any good deed that you do is multiplied in these first 10 days. So do not hesitate, my dear brothers and sisters, in doing good deeds. Even on the day of Arafah, even if we are not in Arafah itself, Abdullah ibn Abbas used to sit in the masajid, and many of the Salaf used to sit in the masjid on the day of Arafah, even when they were not in Mecca or Medina in Arafah. Even when they were not there. Because the virtue of Arafah for them was not only about the place, the virtue of Arafah was also about the time as well. So on the day of Arafah, which is the day of dua, fill the masajids in beseeching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. And if you haven't asked Allah for forgiveness in the last year or 2 years, because you want to continue in your sin, let these first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah be a time for tabdeel, be a time for change. Make a firm irada in your head that these things are ruining my life, and for sure they are ruining your life. I don't need to know, nobody needs to know, but you know that the drugs you are selling is ruining your life. You know your gang friends are ruining your life. You know your zina has ruined your life. You know your alcohol has ruined your life. You know those things that have stolen has no barakah in them. And the whole family is fighting for them. It's ruined my life. You know the haram ruins lives, your own lives. Let it be a time for change these first 10 days of Dhul-Hijjah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and ability to fulfill the sunnah of Rasulullah. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. يقول عز وجل في الكتاب المجيد بعد أن نقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب الميزان وقنا عذاب الدين وقنا عذاب جهنم. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وعدل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداء الدين. اللهم احفظهم علماء الحق والدعاة المخلصين. اللهم انصر إخواننا مستضعفين في كل مكان. اللهم انصر إخواننا مستضعفين في فلسطين يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر إخواننا مجاهدين في سبيلك يا رب العالمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.